council meeting via video conference. All council persons are present. I'm going to ask Coach Thomas to lead us in prayer and invocation tonight.
Yes, let us bow our heads, please. Most Heavenly Father, as we come at this hour in the evening to do parish business, Lord, we ask, Lord, for strength, direction. We ask, Lord, that you continue to guide, lead, and direct us in a mighty way, Father. Oh, Father, as I bow at this hour, Lord, I ask that you bless each and every person under the sound of my voice. Oh, Father, I pray, Lord, that you would direct our hearts and minds and allow us to do parish business. And, Lord God, we thank you, Lord, for all you've done for us, all you're doing for us, and all you're going to do. We ask, Lord, that you order our footsteps and to regulate our minds and enable us to do your will. Oh, Father, we thank you in a mighty way. And, Lord God, when the end shall come, we ask you, Lord, to continue to guide and lead us. In your name we pray, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit. And we all say it, amen. Amen. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have no chair addition, but we do have, I guess we'll take the removal once we get to that part of the agenda, but we do not have any chair amendments. At this point, we'll go to the public comment sign-in period.
I would have to read the agenda first.
Okay.
Mosquito control surveillance procedure presentation. Adoption of June 4th, 2020 council meeting minutes. Adoption of June 23rd, 2020 regular council meeting minutes. Acceptance of donation of mosquito control equipment to include a Kawasaki side-by-side and a Clark ULB fogger by the Center for Disease Control as a federal grant. Ratification of presidential appointments. Review and approval of social media policy. Review and approval of Ascension Parish flag policy. Approval of lowest responsive bid. Bituminous mixture for hot application asphalt. Barber Brothers Contracting Company LLC, $56 per ton. Approval of request for quote, Modest Fire Station Parking Lot HCM Building, $41,700 as per submitted quote. Approval of lowest responsive bid for mosquito control chemicals, Adapco Inc. for Scurs, Masterline, Bifin, BBA2, and Vectorlex WDG, Clark Mosquito for Duet, No Bear Oil Company for clear mineral oil, 55-gallon drum, and clear mineral oil, 280 tote, Target Specialty for Biomist 30+30, Vectorlex CG, and Alticid briquettes. Approval of lowest quote in the amount of $49,530 for upgrade to existing lighting in 2 areas at the Mar Dixon Expo Center, ADG, Baton Rouge. Approval of amendment number 1 to the master contract for pavement preservation with Material Resources, Inc. for an additional $749,887.50 and to extend the term for 1 year. Approval of change order number 4, LA 73 Henry Road Intersection Improvements Project MA 1804, Quartz Construction Services, Inc., decrease of $37,662.05. Approval of change order number 4, balance of change order for MA 1701A Roddy Road, LA 935 to LA 621 clearing and grubbing. Traffic Commander LLC, decrease of $52,135. Approval of substantial completion for Roddy Road widening, LA 935 to LA 621 clearing and grubbing. Approval of amendment number 1 to the general staffing agreement with Amon Staffing for temporary staffing of nurses at the Ascension Parish Jail due to COVID-19, increase of $116,000. Zoning review IDP 2311.20 Lot A1 of the George Rain property containing 4.389 acres for Aaron McBride, located on the east side of LA Highway 73, approximately 630 feet south of Southwood Village Avenue, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential to small plant unit development. Joint Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial of the rezone. This is to accept or deny the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Zoning Review ID PZ 2371.20 Lot A for Jeffrey Seeger located on the east side of LA 73 Old Jefferson Highway, approximately 1,000 feet south of LA Highway 42, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from mixed use 2, MU2 to mixed use corridor. The zoning commission recommends denial of this rezone. To accept or deny the recommendation of the planning commission. Reading of ordinance number 1 to levy millages on the 2020 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by Ascension Parish government. Ordinance to levy millages on the 2020 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by Ascension Parish government. Then there's the reading and the ordinance adoption of the ordinance number 2 to increase the millage rates, but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rates on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2020, and when collected, the revenues from said taxes shall be used only for specific purposes for which said taxes have been levied. That's it, Travis.
And with that, we'll go to the public comment period. And during the public comment period, we'll go ahead and have the presentation for the mosquito control surveillance procedure.
Okay, Travis, we have 2 callers.
Okay.
The first one is Chad Stevens. He lives in Dutchtown, and he's going to speak on 9A, which is a zoning review, ID PZ 2311.20. And his name is Chad Stevens.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Stevens.
Go ahead, Mr. Stevens. Yeah, this is Chad Stevens. I'm here tonight with Mr. Aaron McBride, who's the owner of the McBride Storage, and we're here to ask for your approval tonight of the rezone of HUD on LA Highway 73. The property is currently zoned RM, which allows residential lots of 3 units to the acre. Based on that 4.3 acres, to be able to potentially do 13 lots. For RV and boat storage, which is what he's proposing, he would need MU zoning. However, the planning commission staff recommended that we do a SPUD. That way, the site plan was tied down. The uncertainty of MU zoning, that allows a bunch of uses, so the SPUD would tie him to a specific site plan. The site has MU2 zoning to the south, which is the Gateway Preschool, and it also has MU2 zoning across 73 to the west. The Ascension Master Plan also has this, the front portion of this property labeled as commercial due to its location on Highway 73 and its border with commercial zoning to the south. The RV and boat storage is proposed since it's a less intense commercial use that supports residential areas. It does have a small office use in the front that's placed up Highway near 73, where the future land use plan is commercial. And the office use is going to be his logistics company plus some other professional offices. We specifically excluded retail from that office building in the split plan. We negotiated a couple times with the neighbors in Waterford. We originally had the storage units opposite from the neighborhood, but based on some meetings with Mr. Rod Conley, who I believe is on the call, and some of the other neighbors that sit adjacent to the project, they asked us to flip the units to where the units were backing up directly to their neighborhood, shield them from the drive and those things of the project. And so we did that and got their favor. They signed a petition in favor of the project. They would much rather the storage versus residential lots, which is what the current zoning of the property is. So again, we would just ask for your approval tonight of the project, and we can answer any questions if need be. Thank you.
Joel has a question. Questioning?
Thank you, Chair. I was just curious, and I know this because I have a storage facility. The amount of parking spaces, do you have what that has to be? Because I want to say it's like 1 space per 100 people or something. So I was just curious as to if you had those numbers so people had an idea of what type of impact it will have on the traffic.
The current ordinance of the parish does not require parking for the storage units themselves. It does require storage for the office buildings, which we do have. However, the traffic generation for the storage, I believe, is 7 peak hour trips. So in the afternoon, in the PM peak, you would generate 7 trips from the storage.
For how many units?
This is 72 RV and boat units.
Any other questions for the caller? Okay, then. All right, thank you, Mr. Stevens, for your call and comments. With that, Cinnamon, can you put on the second caller?
Yes, his name is Rob Conley, and he's speaking in favor of the same item 9A, zoning review ID PZ 2311.20. Mr. Rob Conley.
This is Rob Conley, and just to reiterate and reinforce what Chad Stevens presented, we've had several meetings. I represent Waterford Lake. I'm on 14359 Lennox Drive, one of 10 homeowners on the backside of the property. And we've had several meetings with Chad and with Aaron McBride, the owner of the property. And like I said, they mirrored the design. They shared with us all the variances discussed in the package with the fence line, the property line, the tree ordinance that needs to be fulfilled. I created a package to walk around the neighborhood, had everybody review the elevation, the plan drawings, the drainage. We talked about the noise impact, lighting impact. We're all in favor of this design relative to other things that could be built along and behind our property. They've complied with everything that we asked, and we were okay and in favor of the variances that they were requesting for the minor setback differences. And I know I think they inserted additional trees. So I sent off an email after one of the parish zoning meetings to, I'll mess up the names, but I'll do my best. Jerome Fournier, Eric Poche, there's an L. Brock, and then Corey Orgeron for just showing at that point I had 8 of the 10 neighbors I'd worked the package and discussed with them, had them sign in favor of the reversal and taking the rear of the property with the building facing away from us, even though it's closer. So in the end, I got the last 2 signatures from the remaining 2 neighbors, and we're all in favor and supporting this project as the preferred construction adjacent to our neighborhood. So we appreciate the time to really speak on behalf of the project and show our support of the project. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Councilman Orgeron.
Thank you, Chair. I want to reiterate what was just said by the 2 callers. I have been in contact with a number of the neighbors in Waterford. They're in support of it. The residents that's butting up against it, they've indicated to me that they would have preferred seeing the trees remain. But now that the trees are gone and now that something is going to get built there, they're much more in favor of putting this RV boat lot there as opposed to the other options that could be. So I just wanted to share that information with you guys and reiterate the communication from the council, from the callers. Thank you much.
Councilman Robert.
I was going to ask you, but you answered part of it already about the trees. What type of agreement have they made? Do we have some specific requirements and whatnot to maybe have a whole line of trees, or any idea on that? Because, I mean, I think a screen would be great and so simple to do.
Cinnamon, the call is still on for anybody to answer Councilman Robert's question or no? I think Cinnamon may have left. Councilman Malausso.
Is Chad Stevens not on the line anymore? I know he had the architectural plan and the tree. They showed the fence line along the property. They showed a number of trees that were both evergreen and deciduous trees, and I know the spacing was tighter than what the requirements were. But if Chad comes back online, he can answer the specifics of the spacing of the trees, the size of the trees.
Okay. Well, I apologize. At this point, it's just a public comment period. We're going to have to discuss it when we get to 9A. So with that, Ms. Sim, do we have any other callers?
We have Lance here to answer questions if y'all have questions though.
Okay.
Chad Stevens is back.
Chase, did you have a question for Lance?
No, they were asking questions about landscaping.
Landscaping, basically they're required to have a buffer yard. That's some of the variances. There are many variances that this SPUD is asking for. One of those is the landscaping. They would be required to put landscaping in there. I think they decided they're going to put fencing also. I think an 8-foot fence, but it's required to have a 20-foot buffer. But they're asking the variance for a 15-foot buffer, and within that there's going to be green space.
Hello. Hello.
Cinnamon, who do we still have on the line, Cinnamon?
Chad Stevens is still on the line.
I don't know if Chad's still on the line or not. Yeah, Chad's still on the line.
Okay. Yes, Chad's on the line.
Hello?
Yes, Chad.
I'm still here.
Oh,
I can't.
I'm calling in to support item 9A on the agenda.
Hello, this is Chad. Anybody hear me?
Yes, we heard you, Chad. Councilman Roback.
Okay.
I was just waving at Chad.
Okay, I think at this point we have all the public comments on those two subjects. So with that, we're going to go to the presentation now.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you doing today? I wanted to thank the Vice Chairman, the Council, and the Parish President for allowing me to be here tonight to talk about for a few minutes. First, I want to talk to y'all about our surveillance department and what we do there, and also what we do in the case of the West Nile case in the parish. So I'd like to read to y'all like a little protocol we put together in our office that we kind of follow, and I'll read this to y'all real quick. Our surveillance team is responsible for monitoring and testing adult mosquito activities in abundance across Ascension Parish. Our first line of offense in combating mosquitoes and the viruses they carry is to understand where the mosquitoes are and if they are found in high abundance. During heavy mosquito season, which is normally during March through November, we set traps to locate where the mosquitoes are, to look at the population numbers, and also to test the mosquitoes for several viruses such as West Nile, St. Louis encephalitis, and Triple E. We set over 25 traps across the parish and collect daily specimens. We bring the collected specimens back to the lab in our office, and we identify the mosquitoes to species, and those that are important species we collect in vials up to 100 mosquitoes per sample. We then send the samples off to the lab to LSU in Baton Rouge for virus testing. Every week we are getting this information back, which helps us determine the location and problems in the population of mosquitoes, and it also points to the location that the actual virus present in mosquitoes. For example, this season we have sent off 848 samples and only received one West Nile case. That West Nile case took place about 4 or 5 weeks ago on Fernand Street, which is on Highway 74 in Dutchtown, right around the Chester DS Road. Once we receive positive results and we know where the problem is with West Nile virus, our first line of defense is trying to kill the larval mosquitoes before they become biting adults. We do this by using a variety of products that are sprayed directly into the roadside ditches that are breeding mosquitoes. Our second line of defense is our spray trucks that go out at night, which are much more visible to the public. The sensitive areas are targeted by our night trucks for several nights until the area is retested with a negative result. Surveillance is here to sensitively detect where problems are in the parish so that our department can target those areas and control mosquito populations as much as we can. Of course, there's a lot that the residents can do as well. The most important thing a resident can do is to minimize mosquito population in the area, is keeping vegetation in the yards cut down, empty anything in the yard with standing water such as flower pots, kiddie pools, toys, fire pits, and old tires. Also, if residents are experiencing an unusual volume of mosquitoes, they can call us out to check and treat their property. Surveillance is probably one of the most important things we do in the parish for the mosquito control. It's our indicator. It tells us what's going on in the parish. It tells us where the virus is at. We can go out and target them areas. We can treat them areas very, very quickly. We've been doing surveillance for about 15, 17 years now. It's been very, very good to us as far as finding the information we need to combat these areas. It's a very cost-effective way of doing mosquito control. It's because one sample costs about $1.50 to run to get tested. A trap costs about $100. You can use them year after year after year. I got about 25, 30 traps out. So we're glad we're doing this. I think it's something that we need to continue to do, and I really do appreciate y'all listening to me today. And if I have any questions, please feel free to ask. I got a couple of pictures. This first picture is a picture of one of the traps. That trap is located on D&D Lane, which is somewhere around the Lake Martin area. The next picture is a picture of one of our lab field workers pulling the sample from the net on the trap. This next picture is what the sample looks like when it's pulled. Then it comes into our lab, and where we will have a microscope and some reading material that helps us do this. This is one of the lab techs actually putting the mosquitoes in the vial and getting ready for testing. This is what it looks like before it goes out for testing. That's what it looks like, the samples look like, and the paperwork that goes with it. So anyway, that's all I have on that right now. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to try to answer them.
Councilman Robert.
I was curious, and I'm sure it wouldn't work in this type of application, but have y'all looked at the science behind those night mosquito things that you hang from trees, basically it attracts mosquitoes?
Yeah, that's another type of trap that's out there. That's called a light. I think it's called H2O, a light trap, and that collects certain species.
Well, the one I'm talking about isn't a trap. It's like it attracts them. Traps and stuff. And what it is, it has to attract it, and it poisons them or stops them from reproducing. I didn't know y'all ever looked at this.
Is that the Spartan mosquito trap? Yeah, yes, I'm familiar with that. We haven't went to that yet, but we have been approached to purchase some of them. I am looking at that, and it might be something we can use in the future, but right now, we're not using that.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Cagnolati. No, I'm sorry, Councilman Overdrawn. The bald heads confused me.
I don't look like him. I take that as a compliment, Chair. Thank you much. Sean, I want to thank you for the work that you guys have been doing there. I know that on a couple of occasions I've had constituents call me and ask me if I could assist them with getting the sprayers out. Sean, you always been, on the ball, jumped at the opportunities to help the neighbors. And I see heads nodding up and down across my screen. And I think everyone's in agreement with that. At least I hope you guys all are. Thank you for keeping up the good work that we've had in the past and keep moving forward. We appreciate you very much. Thank you, Mr. Quinmore, for that hire. It was a great job, great decision. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Councilman Moore.
Councilman Lambert.
Can't hear you.
You got to unmute, Dempsey.
Yeah, I just want to thank them and really appreciate the good work that they're doing. With the one positive case on Ferdinand Road, was that a human case or an animal case?
That was a mosquito case. Human cases are handled totally different. We get involved with it somewhat, but not as much as we can, because when a person goes to the hospital, to the doctor, and the doctor diagnoses that person with West Nile, that's the patient doctor's confidentiality. Now the doctor will not tell us if the patient wants to call us and tell us if they got West Nile, okay, that's good, because we're able to go out and treat the area. But if she or he don't tell us, the information goes to the CDC, but the CDC does not get the person's name. The only thing the CDC gets is a block address, like 10-100 to 10-200, and they call me with that, so we know about where the area is, and we go out and do the same thing that I just read y'all. Treat that area very, very well. But I don't get nobody's name unless the patient himself calls me.
Yeah, I was just looking for if it was human or animal. Thanks. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I don't see any more hands raised. Sean, I'd like to thank you for giving this report. And with that, we'll go to agenda item number 6, the parish president's report.
Thank you, Chair. We'll go ahead and let our CAO, John, do his normal thing and present the report and give you updates on what the parish administration's been working on. And I'll just give you a few updates. John?
Yes, thank you, Parish President, Chairman, members of the council. As always, it's a pleasure. Sticking to our new tradition, we'll start tonight's Parish President's report by highlighting some of our key employees. Once again, professional development is going to be a key in our administration. Tonight, we'd like to highlight Ricky Compton and Brandon O'Day. Most of you guys know Ricky. He's an LSU graduate. After graduating from LSU, he worked in Florida for 12 years, both in the private sector and the public sector as a community planner / developer. He moved back to Ascension in 2008, where he served as the planning and development director for Ascension Parish. During his tenure, he helped facilitate the creation of the Unified Land Development Code, oversaw the adoption of over 50 ordinances, established 5 new zoning designations, and assisted in the creation of an industrial development overlay zone on the west side of Ascension Parish. Ricky has worked with the development community in revising the major subdivision guidelines, which now require the construction of sidewalks, planting of street trees, and the preservation of park space in all new subdivisions. Ricky took a sabbatical from Ascension Parish government and went to work for BREC as assistant director of BREC over the facilities maintenance division. He oversaw 3 foremen, 20 to 30 craftsmen, 184 park locations, and hundreds of individual facilities. While there, Ricky created a prioritized work order system and a yearly inspection program that enabled BREC to become more proactive than reactive with respect to facility repairs. He also serves as a project manager on several major renovation projects, which include major roof repairs, bridge repairs, and building renovations. Ricky brings 24 years of experience home to Ascension Parish. In his own words, he's here to continue to improve the quality of life for his kids and future generations of Ascension Parish. Next up is Brandon O'Day. He was hired in 2008 to fill a vacant IT manager position. After graduating from LSU in 2001, he began working full-time as an IT analyst for the Department of Education. He was quickly recognized as a future IT leader and worked his way up the IT ranks. As the Ascension Parish IT manager in 2018, the IT director, Brandon, has created an effective and efficient AP Gov IT department. I can tell you, just during the transition team, Brandon O'Day was one of the first department heads to come to us with a 20-page PowerPoint of his vision and his plan for his department. I'll be honest with you, words can't describe the value that these two guys bring to this organization. It's a pleasure to work with them each and every day. Changing gears real quick, as a result of COVID, and I'm sure most of you guys are aware, each and every department has had to make their own adjustments, from finance to permitting to DPW. Our grass cutting is falling behind. Since March, we've had to send 191 employees home. 135 of these employees had to stay home for more than 3 days. Of this total, 77 of them were DPW employees, and that's pretty important considering the two developing tropical depressions approaching the Gulf. Talked to OEP this morning. They're monitoring all weather events. According to the most recent information, Tropical Storm 14 is the first potential threat to make landfall on Tuesday afternoon. Currently, Tropical Depression 13 track is set for possible landfall in or near Florida and moves into the Gulf on Tuesday. This is a tight timeline of two storms entering the Gulf of Mexico, and so we're just keeping our fingers crossed and praying that the inevitable doesn't happen. In addition to OEP's traditional prep, they're making OEC COVID correct by utilizing plexiglass dividers from the council room to separate key staffs. As always, DPW has inventoried and refilled all sandbag locations. They're blowing out covers and removing debris. The administration has no doubt that should these two hurricanes become a reality, DPW is ready. Also, a lot of you guys are probably aware that we've began the budgeting process. One of the big push this administration in the first year of our first budget is to get directors and department heads much more involved and active in developing their budgets. We've also started phase 2 of the SSA study. This week we met with Our Lady of the Lake as well as the health unit and the mental health unit. And to be honest with you, our goal was not only to bring the team together and kind of play around with ideas, but make it clear, absolutely clear, that our department heads will be leading these efforts and these outside consultants are here to facilitate. So we're excited that this process has finally begun. Everybody in the room seems to be really excited, and we're optimistic that we'll have some great outcomes. So with that, I'll take questions if you have any.
Councilman Castle.
You're muted.
Now I'm unmuted. Thank you all. John, I wanted to thank you for the report. I particularly am excited to hear that SSA is on board and that we're moving. And I'm particularly pleased as well to hear that our department heads are going to be key to this effort and will be leading that effort. So I thank you and the president for getting this done for us. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're excited.
Councilman Cagnolati.
Yeah, John, thanks for the report. Appreciate that. A question came to mind. You mentioned a lot of DPW folks that were sent home. Are they sent home because they were exposed, or well, I guess my question is, we have a storm approaching. If we need to, do we have resources we can go to for temporary folks to fill some need for laborers and workers? That's just my question.
Yeah, no, we have room and capacity to grow, but obviously it depends on if both of them hit at the same time or a day after. Obviously, everybody would it would be a difficult process, but no, we are prepared.
Okay, thank you.
John, have we lost any of our employees due to the COVID though?
We had one death. We did.
Okay. Are we allowed to say what employee it was or no?
I'm not sure. With HIPAA laws, I prefer to just.
Okay. But we did have one pass away from the COVID?
Correct.
Do we have any other questions? With that, we'll go to agenda item number 7, the consent agenda. Consent agenda item A, adoption of June 4th, 2020 regular council meeting minutes.
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Ogeron, second by Councilman Cagnolati. And adoption of the June 23rd, 2020 regular council meeting minutes.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Cagnolati, seconded by Councilman Ogeron. Any objections? No objection, the consent agenda passes. With that, we'll go to agenda item number 8, general business. 8A, acceptance of the donation of mosquito control equipment to include a Kawasaki side-by-side and a Clark ULV fogger by the Center for Disease Control as a federal grant. Sean Severio.
Hello again. I'll talk to you all this time about some good news we got in the parish. We I'm supposed to be having a guy by the name of Kyle Moffitt from State Louisiana join us. No video. Can you do the video?
Councilman Malonzo?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to accept.
Got a motion to accept by Councilman Malonzo, seconded by Councilman Mason. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. We're gonna remove agenda item 8B. It was a request by the administration, so we're gonna remove that from the agenda. We're gonna go to agenda item 8C, review and approval of social media policy. Chairman Castle.
I'm very pleased to see this policy having been presented today. Thank you all so much for getting that done for us. It's important that we have this policy in place. I do believe after some discussion with Councilman Lawler that he will be providing an amendment, and I'm going to encourage him to do that with the appropriate language that we were helped to understand in our earlier session with our parliamentarians. Aaron, I'll yield the floor to you or back to the chair to recognize you.
Councilman Lawler.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I would like to make a motion. I've got it here, and I'm going to read it out loud, and I will send everybody a copy of it so they have it in writing also, which may make it easier. The proposed amendment will go at the last sentence in the first paragraph under establishing new social media, so we know where it goes. I don't have the whole thing in front of me, and I apologize. It will state only parish staff other than the CIO as designated by the CIO and approved by the council shall serve as publishers. Except for the CIO, prospective publishers shall be identified to the council before being given publishing rights. The council, by simple majority, shall vote whether to approve the prospective publisher at the meeting immediately following the identification of the prospective publisher. Once approved, a publisher may be removed by the parish president or by simple majority of the council. And then at the very end of the document, I believe that this it's not an ordinance, I'm sorry, it's a policy, should become effective after the first meeting in August. And the reason for this is it will allow the administration time to appoint somebody and to have, and for us to ratify that person. In the interim, it will allow the administration to post emergency information as required, especially since we have 2 potential tropical storms coming. So what my motion does is it allows the council to have some say over who the publishers will be. I believe that's important because these publishers will be speaking for not only the administration, but the council and all of the citizens of Ascension Parish, and I believe we need some oversight in that situation. It also allows for the council and the parish president to have the ability to remove a publisher if needed. And finally, the delay will allow for the Office of Emergency Preparedness and the council to, Office of Emergency Preparedness and the parish to put out emergency information as we have storms, in the Gulf of Mexico, but still preserve the right of the parish council to I guess you'd say, ratify these publishers. I yield.
Councilman Mason.
I just want to clarify Councilman Lawler's statement. He said for the first meeting of August. I'm assuming you meant first meeting in September. Can't hear you, Aaron.
Yes, I'm a month behind September.
Okay. That's fine. I just want to make sure that was clarified. Thank you, Aaron.
Apologize.
I'm gonna do Councilman Orgeron and Councilman Castle. Councilman Orgeron first, then.
I choose to second the motion, the amended motion of Councilman Lawler.
Okay. So we got a motion by Lawler to amendment, and second by Councilman Orgeron. We have a question by Councilman Robert.
Okay. It's more of a statement than a question on this. I have a two-part thing once again. First off, I feel like this whole amendment to the social media thing, I was already not for the social media censorship because I think this is just what adds to bureaucracy on bureaucracy and makes it very inefficient for the public and for the people to get this information, number one. But besides that, I would like to discuss that actual amendment because, it's very long. I haven't had a copy of it. I don't have a copy of it in front of me. I would like to actually make a motion to push this to the next meeting after we have some time to actually look at that amendment because that's a lot of wording and a lot of stuff just to understand. And lastly, I just wanted to close here and say it's just going to open up, if we do this, www.ascensionparish.com or something right close to it will be bought and the same thing will be channeled through. It's just stopping the public from knowing for why. Anyone that publishes, let them put their name on it. Let the public deal with it. That's my opinion. I think we're starting something we don't need to get near.
President Quinn Moore.
I'm in full support of the policy, including the amendment. I don't see anything wrong with it. Full support of it. It's not an issue for us, so we're okay with it. We're okay with it.
It doesn't look like we have a second for Councilman Robert, so his amendment his proponent dies for lack of a second. So we have Councilman Lawler's amended motion on the table. Do we have Councilman Orgeron, did you second it? Councilman Orgeron second. Do we have any opposition? With no opposition, that motion passes. With that, we'll go to general business D, the review and approval of the Ascension Parish flag policy. Councilman Castle.
I'm glad to see I'm not muted. We made it for the first time. Gentlemen, I think this flag policy was requested at a time when a gentleman had passed away, a prominent gentleman in our community, but it was not necessarily from a person who had ever been an elected official or who had a parish-wide title. So it was important, I think, for us to establish a clear policy around the flags being lowered. It appeared to me that we could have the flag lowered about 25 days a month if we weren't cautious about in whose honor that flag was lowered. And so one of the things that was important to me was that any presidential order for the lowering of the flag or any order of our governor for the lowering of the flag would be respected by the parish and follow suit. and that then we put some stipulations that the administration did on in its suggestion on those other folks who might be so honored. So I am very supportive of this work the way it has been produced, and thank you very much for it.
Councilman Lawler.
I don't believe we have a motion already to accept it unless I'm mistaken.
I'm happy to make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Okay, I thought you had a comment, Lawler, Councilman Lawler. Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Castle, second by Councilman Lawler. Do we have any objection? We have no objection, the motion passes. With that, we go to 6.8E, approval of lowest responsive bid, Baltimore mixture for hot application asphalt, Barber Brothers Contracting, LLC. Motion by Councilman Lambert, seconded by Councilman Cagnolati. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8F, approval of a request for quote, Modest Fire Station parking lot, HCM buildings.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Thomas. Second by Councilman Mason. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8G, approval of lowest responsive bid for mosquito control chemicals, Cynthia LeBlanc, Purchasing Director. We have a motion by Councilman Lawler, second by Councilman Ogeron. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8H, approval of lowest quote in the amount of $49,000. Trying to read and look at y'all's hands at the same time. So got a motion by
I'm so glad you noticed that.
Got a motion by Councilman Mason, seconded by Councilman Ogeron. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8I, approval of amendment number 1 to the master contract for pavement preservation with Material Resources, Inc.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Cagnolati, second by Councilman Robert. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8G, approval of change order number 4, Louisiana 73 at Henry Road intersection, improvements projects MA 1804. Motion by Councilman Ogeron, second by Councilman Malasso. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes.
Discussion.
Oh, okay, apologize. Councilman Lambert.
Yeah, I just want to give Joey and the everyone that was involved with that intersection. It really turned out nice. All the striping is complete, and just want to let everyone know there was a good job on that. Thank you.
Any other comments, Councilman Lawler?
Yeah, I want to echo that. They did a great job on it. Was that the change order one? I don't have my agenda in front of me. I can't look in both.
It is a change
order.
What
was the change order amount on it?
The change order amount is $37,662.05.
Down, right? That we saved.
Decrease, yes.
Yeah, I just, you don't get to see that very often. So great job, Transportation Department, saving us a little money. And it's a great project. People are already benefiting from it all the way down 73. Thank you, Travis.
Okay, with that, we'll go to agenda item 8K, approval of change order CO-04. Motion by Councilman Lawson, second by Councilman Ogeron. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8L, approval of substantial completion for Roddy Road widening, LA 935-621. Motion by Councilman Mason, second by Councilman Cagnolati. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. 8M, approval of amendment number 1 to the general staffing agreement with M&I Staffing for temporary. Motion by Councilman Ogeron, second by Councilman Robert. Any objection? No objection, the motion passes. Go to agenda item number 9A, zoning review ID PZ-2311.20, Lot A1 of the George Wren property, containing 4.389 acres for Aaron McBride, located on the east side of Highway 73, approximately 630 feet south of Southwood Village Avenue, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from medium intensity residential RM to small planned unit development SPUD. Joint Planning and Zoning Commission recommends denial of the rezone. This motion is to accept or deny the recommendation of the Planning and Zoning Commission. And we did have two speakers on it earlier. Councilman Malaso, is a comment or is a motion? Motion by Councilman Malaso to accept or deny. Well, I guess we need to, is it accept or deny? Is it a motion to accept or a motion to deny?
I'm making a motion to accept.
Motion to accept by Councilman Malaso, second by Councilman Wagenspat. Any objection? No objection.
I don't have objection. I just had someone to ask a little debate about it.
Okay, we'll hold a motion. Councilman Robert.
My only thought on this, if they really did make those plans with the subdivision behind them, and it is storage and it is doing the landscape, all of this stuff, if that's the case, mind giving them another month to come back to us so they don't have to redo the whole planning commission thing and all that stuff. If they want to have some of the residents contact us and get some more reports to show us, because I mean, the storage is not a bad thing for the community. I'm not saying, I mean, I'm gonna go along with y'all's motion. I'm just saying maybe give them a month to let the community come and see if they really did resolve some of that.
I got Councilman Malaso, then Councilman Ogeron. Councilman Malaso.
Oh yeah, the fence, the shrubbery, the greenery, all of that is in the packet. It's on the plans, and the same HOA who spoke here for us today spoke at the previous two planning meetings where this was brought up, zoning meetings where this was brought up, and they're not changing anything. It's all in the plans. It's on the plot and everything. So there's nothing that they asked for them to do today. It was existing. And I believe that's a big part of why the HOA is in favor, because they're adding the fence, they're adding the greenery, and they're doing some things to help out that HOA.
Chase, I mean,
hold on.
Wasn't the motion to deny it from Chase?
No,
like
Chase.
Your motion was to go along with the planning commission, huh, Chase?
No. My motion is to accept the rezone from RM to SPUD, to accept the project as proposed. I'm sorry.
Okay, because I thought you had done the opposite. I thought you were agreeing to the planning commission.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize.
Cinnamon, is that how we have it?
It needs to be a motion to accept the recommendation of the commission or to deny the recommendation of the commission.
I'll make.
We have Chase's motion on the table. Do we have any objection to Chase's motion? Okay.
Chase needs to restate his motion.
Yes.
So that deny the planning commission's recommendation.
Correct. So Chase, can you restate the motion?
Yes, so planning recommended denial. I would like to not accept that.
To deny the
So you're making a motion to deny the planning and zoning recommendation, correct, Chase?
Mm-hmm.
Second. We got a second by Councilman Wagenspan.
Hold on, I have a question. They asked for a lot of variances on this request also. Are you granting these variances that they asked for also?
Right.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, Chair, can I just have one word?
Yes, Chase.
Hey, Lance, the biggest variance, if I remember, was instead of 20-foot setback, they are asking for the 15, but they're doing some green space in there with a fence to kind of making that area a little nicer.
Yes, sir, they are putting some green space, but the biggest one I think is the asphalt or the dust-free paving. They're asking for limestone instead of concrete. Or their the back.
I make a amendment.
Hold on, Joe. Hold on. Lance, will you finish?
I'm sorry. Yeah, they're asking for a variance for the dust-free paving along the rear where the storage units are, to put limestone instead of dust-free paving. So that's one of the variances that they're asking for. Okay. They're asking for three variances. They're asking for the gravel paving along the storage area. They're asking for the minimum setback of requirements of 5 feet. The minimum setback is 10. And they're asking for a variance for the buffer yard requirement, which Chase stated earlier that they are putting landscaping and fencing along the buffer, along the perimeter.
Okay. Councilman Robert.
I'm making an amended motion to strike out the asphalt, that actual variance. I don't want to grant the variance for no asphalt and put in limestone. So can I just strike out that particular variance, or do we have to deny the whole thing?
I believe that you can grant it based on, yeah, you can grant that variance or deny that one variance. Yes, sir. You have that authority to do that. Yes, sir.
Councilman Ogeron.
Should I wait to see if there's a second for Mr. Robert's amended motion before I start my comments?
Allison, could you advise?
The chair should call for a second.
Do we have a second? We have a second from Councilman Cagnolati. Councilman Ogeron, comment?
Yes, thank you. My question is directed to Mr. Brock. Lance, the issue with limestone as opposed to asphalt, are there any other similar facilities in the parish that have been granted that variance that have limestone instead of asphalt at their storage facilities?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir. All the ones that may have limestone were put in prior to zoning in the state. So yes, sir. So no one that I know of has asked for a variance or granted a variance to put limestone instead of dust-free paving.
And the reason I ask is I have my stuff over at a facility on Highway 44, and it's limestone. So I wasn't sure.
Right, that was probably there prior to.
If it was grandfathered in or not, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you,
Councilman Lawler.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. My question goes to the limestone versus concrete. Limestone is permeable. Will that benefit drainage in the area, though, if we decided that it would be best to have limestone as opposed to concrete? And my next question is, and Lance, I'll let you answer both of them. Let me just ask both. Is that, are there other alternatives other than limestone? Are there other permeable surfaces that could be used that would suffice in this situation? Thank you.
The code states that it's permanent dust-free paving. That's what it states. I don't think limestone meets that. I think there's a dust problem or dust issue that could be on there, and I also believe that a noise issue from the residents back there, from people turning on limestone and people turning around in that part. The question about drainage, it still doesn't soak into the ground, so it's still running off. It may run off a little less or at that point, but it still runs off, and it still does not go into the grass.
Thank you very much, sir. I have no more questions.
Councilman Robert.
To address Councilman Lawler's question about the limestone, they actually do have a product. It's like a grid that you can buy, and you fill it with limestone. It's dust proof, and it stops any of the noise or anything. The only problem right now, to buy that product and put limestone, it would be just as cheap to put concrete or blacktop. So hopefully when technology gets there and it's made quicker, maybe, I don't know, but the price incentive isn't there.
Okay, if we don't have any more questions, at this point, we need to take up Councilman Robert's motion. We had a second. So do we have any objection to this motion? We have an objection by Councilman Malonzo. So that should require a roll call.
I have a question. I have a question.
Councilman Malonzo.
So Councilman Robert's, his amended motion was to require asphalt instead of limestone?
Yes. That's correct, right, Councilman Robert?
Yes, I mean, it could be asphalt or concrete. I'm not saying specifically just not limestone. A like Lance said, something What is it, Lance, in the code?
Dust-free paving.
Dust-free paving.
Correct.
If you wish to change that, I'm good with dust-free paving. If not, asphalt's fine.
But Councilman Rube, I think we have to be more specific with the motions.
Let's just do asphalt. Asphalt, I'm sure they'll give them a variance on it if they needed it.
Councilman Mason.
In the motion that we're striking that variance, that exception of that variance, so the wording doesn't matter. We're not going to allow that variance to be in that exception. Yeah. So we're just going to strike.
We're just knocking it out. Yes, yeah. You're correct, Councilman Mason.
Thank you.
Okay. So do we have any objection to Councilman Robert's motion? Councilman Malonzo. Is there an objection? We have an objection. We have to have a roll call vote.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Councilman Robert.
So no to the objection, or yes to the my motion? Yes to my motion. Yeah.
Councilman Turner.
Yes.
Councilman Orgeron. Councilman Orgeron.
Sorry, no.
Councilman Lambert.
No.
Councilman Melanson.
No.
Councilman Lawler.
Yes.
Councilman Wagasback.
No.
Councilman Catalani.
Yes.
Councilman Basin.
Yes.
Councilwoman Casso.
Yes.
You have 4 nays, 7 yeas.
So the Councilman Robert motion passes. Do we still need to take up Councilman Lawler's initial motion then?
Yes, yes, the motion was amended, yes.
Okay. So now we have Councilman Lawler's motion on the table. Do we have any objections? Seeing no objection, the motion, Councilman Lawson has an objection?
Yes, so what are we voting on?
Voting on the main motion as amended.
The main motion as amended.
Oh, okay.
Councilman Lawler, you have a comment?
Yeah, I was just going to explain what I believe we're voting on. The main motion, and we're amending it to require non-dust or dust-free paving and allowing the other variances. I think that's correct. Just want to be clear for everybody.
Okay. Correct. Now, do we have any objection to Councilman Lawler's motion? With no objection to Councilman Lawler's motion, the motion passes. With that, we go to agenda item 9B, zoning review, ID PZ-2371.20, Lot A for Jeffrey Seeger, located on the east side of LA Highway 73, Old Jefferson Highway, approximately 1,000 foot south of LA Highway 42, to amend the Ascension Parish zoning map from mixed use to MU2 to mixed use corridor MU. The zoning commission recommends denial of this rezone. To accept or deny the recommendation of the zoning commission. Councilman Lawler.
Motion.
Yes, I was making a motion that we accept the Planning Zoning Commission's recommendation.
I second that.
We have a second by Councilman Orgeron. Do we have any objection? With no objection, we're going to accept the recommendation of the Planning Zoning Committee. With that, we'll go to agenda item 10A. Mr. Calabera.
Can I get unmuted?
There you go.
I need to be unmuted.
You are.
Yes.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, perfect. Evening, everybody. I'm Michael Calabro, Assistant District Attorney. I'm filling in for Mr. O'Neill Parrington this evening. I'll read into the record ordinance number 1. Be it ordained that the following millages are hereby levied on the 2020 tax roll on all property subject to taxation by Ascension Parish government. 2020 millage, parish tax 2.74, parish tax in Donaldsonville, Gonzales 1.37, parish health 1.98, parish mental health 1.98, parish council on aging 1.48, parish juvenile detention 0.99, parish animal shelter 0.99, parish library maintenance 4.03, parish library maintenance number 2.49, lighting district number 1 4.78, lighting district number 2 1.01, lighting district number 3 4.81, lighting district number 4 4.34, lighting district number 5 4.84, lighting district number 6 4.90, lighting district number 7 4.89, ACUD number 1 10.31, East Ascension Drainage 4.94, West Ascension Drainage 5.30, West Ascension Drainage number 2 4.62, Prairieville Fire District number 3 9.81, Prairieville Fire District number 3 number 2 9.81, Brookstone Subdivision Road District 15.00, Cambry Oaks Subdivision Road District 15.00, Camellia Cove Subdivision Road District 15.00, Germany Oaks Subdivision Road District number 2 filing 15.00, Highland Trace Subdivision Road District 15.00, Jamestown Crossing First Filing District 15.00, Jamestown Crossing Second Filing District 15.00, Villas at Rosewood Subdivision Road District 15.00. Be it further ordained that the proper administrative officials of the Parish of Ascension, State of Louisiana, be and they are hereby empowered, authorized, and directed to spread said taxes as here and above set forth upon the assessment roll of said parish for the year 2020, and to make the collection of the taxes imposed for and on behalf of the taxing authority according to law, and that the taxes herein levied shall become a permanent lien and privilege on all property subject to taxation as herein set forth, and collection thereof shall be enforceable in the manner provided by law. The foregoing ordinance was read in full, the roll was called on the adoption thereof, and the ordinance was adopted by the following votes. Is that all you need, Ms. Cinnamon?
We got a motion by Councilman Cagnolati, second by Councilman Mason.
Put the discussion.
Councilman Quinmo. President Quinmo, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's okay, guys. Yeah, we need to discuss which ones are rolling forward and which ones are rolling back. So we need to go ahead and differentiate those. Cinnamon, can you assist us in differentiating the ones that need to be rolled forward and the ones that we'll recommend to be rolled back? Just so we have clarification, please.
Okay, first of all, that's the next ordinance coming up, not this one.
Next, yes.
So this one is just to levy. This one is just to adopt what we already have, right, Gwen? Yes.
So do we had a, who originally made the motion just now? Councilman Cagnolati, and second by Councilman Mason. Any objection? No objection. The motion, the ordinance passes. With that, we'll go to 10D.
Am I still unmuted?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Ordinance number 2, be it ordained by the Council of the Parish of Ascension, Louisiana, in a public meeting held on August 20th, 2020, which meeting was conducted in accordance with the Open Meetings Law and the additional requirements of Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and RS 47:1705B, that the taxing district voted to increase the millage rates, but not in excess of the prior year's maximum rates on all taxable property shown on the official assessment roll for the year 2020, and when collected, the revenues from said taxes shall be used only for the specific purposes for which said taxes have been levied. Said millage rates are 2020 millage parish tax 2.74, 2020 levy 2.77, parish tax Donaldsonville 2020 millage 1.37, 2020 levy 1.38, parish tax Gonzales 1.37, 2020 levy 1.38, health center 2020 millage 1.98, 2020 levy 2.00, mental health program 2020 millage 1.98, 2020 levy 2.00, library maintenance 2020 millage 4.03, 2020 levy 4.07, library maintenance number 2, 2020 millage 2.49, 2020 levy 2.52, road lighting district number 1, 2020 millage 4.78, 2020 levy 4.94, road lighting district number 2, 2020 millage 1.01, 2020 levy 1.01, road lighting district number 3, 2020 millage 4.81, 2020 levy 4.96, road lighting district number 4, 2020 millage 4.34, 2020 levy 4.76, road lighting district number 5, 2020 millage 4.84, 2020 levy 5.12, road lighting district number 6, 2020 millage 4.90, 2020 levy 4.91, road lighting district number 7, renewal, 2020 millage 4.89, 2020 levy 5.00, East Ascension Drainage District, 2020 millage 4.94, 2020 levy 5.00, West Ascension Drainage District, 2020 millage 5.30, 2020 levy 5.36, West Ascension Drainage District number 2, 2020 millage 4.62, 2020 levy 4.67, Parish Council on Aging, 2020 millage 1.48, 2020 levy 1.50, Fire District number 3, 2020 millage 9.81, 2020 levy 10.00, Fire District number 3, number 2, 9.81, 2020 millage, 2020 levy 10.00. Utilities District number 1, ACUD, 2020 millage 10.31, 2020 levy 10.31. Juvenile Detention Center, 2020 millage 0.99, 2020 levy 1.00. Parish Animal Shelter, 2020 millage 0.99, 2020 levy 1.00. Brookstone Subdivision Road District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Cambry Oak Subdivision Road District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Camellia Cove Subdivision Road District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Germany Oak Subdivision Road District number 2, filing 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Highland Trace Subdivision Road District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Jamestown Crossing First Filing District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Jamestown Crossing Second Filing District, 2020 millage 15.00, 2020 levy 15.00. Villas at Rosewood Subdivision Road District, 2020 millage 15.00, levy 15.00. Be it further ordained that the assessor of the parish of Ascension shall extend upon the assessment roll for the year 2020 the taxes herein levied, and the tax collector of said parish shall collect and remit the same to said taxing authority in accordance with law. The foregoing ordinance was read in full, the roll was called on the adoption thereof, and the ordinance was adopted by no less than 2/3 of the total membership of the taxing authority, voting in favor as required by Article 7, Section 23C of the Louisiana Constitution and Louisiana Revised Statute 47:1705B.
Before we make a motion, move forward, I was indicated that Fire District 3 and the Council on Aging would like for their villages to roll forward. President Quinmore, did you still have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to get sentiment to read all those so we can just understand which ones are being rolled forward. And then when we get ready to talk about the ones rolled back, I'd like to have a comment at that point. Thanks.
Okay. I seen Councilman Lawley, you had your hand up.
No, I was just ensuring that we were going to vote on each one individually so we could roll some forward, roll some backwards. That's all.
If I can have a little leeway, if we're only going, the only two I think requested to have theirs rolled forward is Fire District 3 and the Council on Aging. If there's no objection to that, I think what we can do is make a motion to roll those two forward and not roll the rest forward to make it easier instead of going through each and every one. So if somebody can make that motion. Councilman Cagnolati?
I'd like to make a motion that we roll all millages forward with the exception of the 2 millages for Fire District number 3 and for the Council on Aging.
That's backwards.
Backwards.
Backwards. I'm sorry. to maintain the millages, everyone except roll forward Fire District 3, both of theirs, and Council on Aging. Roll those forward.
We have a second by Councilman Mason. Do we have any objection? With no objection, the ordinance passes. Okay, before we go to the last agenda item, Chairman Castle wanted to address the council.
Guys, and all of you, I thank you, Travis, for substituting for me these last 2 weeks. I don't want to be overcome with emotion here, but I do want all of you to know how grateful I am for all the support that you all have been to me personally and your prayer support for my husband. I do want people to know that they need to take COVID seriously. This can be a life-altering disease if you happen to be one of the people who doesn't do well. So I urge all of our citizens to be cautious, follow all of the guidelines. Do not risk yourself or your children, and certainly not those older members of your family. Those senior members are valuable, and we need to protect them. Coy would argue that he is not a senior member, but I can assure you that he is, and he is suffering with this disease. And for all of you, I'm very grateful for everything you've offered, all the support you've offered to me and to him. I can name all of you individually because truly I have received messages of support and prayer support from each and every one of you. But I do want to thank the parish president for his continued concern. I must tell you that Cinnamon has just been unbelievable. She's my deliverer of sonic blast when I'm feeling like I just have to have some calories. So I appreciate her more than I can ever say. And I thank all of you and the citizens of my district and my community for all of your support for us. We are not out of this yet. We are 21 days in, and we are still, myself, I'm still not well, and my husband is still quite ill. So I thank you all, and I appreciate you. God bless.
With that, can we have a motion to adjourn? I would have the motion to adjourn by Councilman Mason, second by Councilman Ogeron. No objection. With that, the meeting is adjourned.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Please note, the meeting is no